So for this video, I'm going to do a studio session breakdown of my 80s rock remix of Dreamcatcher Starlight. Thanks to everyone that listened to the song. I got a lot of nice comments about it. Just as a disclaimer for this video, I'm a self-taught musician and producer, so this might not be the best way to go about making music. It's just the way that I've learned to do it. YouTube videos, trial and error, that sort of thing. Also, as a disclaimer, this video might get a bit nerdy. The instruments that I used, little tricks that I did in the studio session here, so could be a bit nerdy. Anyway, let's crack on. We'll start with the concept. Oh no, I can't do video graphics. Maybe just concept. Anyway, so when I first heard the song, I think I put a post up on my YouTube channel of hearing the song for the first time, how I love the 80s vibe about it, and I thought, as far as my take on it, to keep it 80s but do something more like the 80s rock music of the time. The first instrument I learned was bass, and not long after learning I was being shown like Iron Maiden's bass lines, really demanding, like the galloping bass, which I've kind of done here, getting the blisters in the fingers. Anyone who plays bass and tried to learn Iron Maiden will know what I'm talking about. When you do Run to the Hills 4 or 5 times over, it hurts. It definitely builds up strength in the fingers. So when it came to writing this and thinking of ideas, I predominantly used the bass guitar and built the riffs around bass lines that I was thinking of. I'll probably spend most of the time talking about the bass part. So first I'll just touch on the drums, because there's not much to it. I used GGD, this drum kit I've been using for all the metal songs. There is this preset that's just called Default Kit Raw, so the snare's a bit fuller. Same with the kick, it's not as tight and punchy as like the metal presets. So yeah, a more natural sounding kit helped for creating something along the 80s vibe. Okay, I'll leave the bass to last, because then that'll be good for going into songwriting. So guitars. This brown bit here is all my recordings on one of the guitars, and the cream bit is the other guitar that I used. So the brown one here is the recordings done on my Gibson SG. I'll go get her just now. Yes sir. So this is my Gibson SG. It is a SG Special. So it was actually one of the more affordable, or one of the most affordable Gibson SGs you can get. So there's no fancy scratch plate or any binding or anything like that. It's mainly the pickups is what I got it for. She's called Agnes, as that is a anagram, is it? Is that what you call it, an anagram? It's an anagram of Angus, aka Angus Young of AC/DC, who used an SG. All my guitar amps I just use virtually, so I can come back to the session later. I actually jumped back and forth. I actually went to Primavera in between writing this. So by having these amps digitally, I can just come back and have everything as it was, ready to go. This is the amp setup I use. It's actually a combo of 2 Marshall-esque amps. This one and this one. So it sounds like this. I'm going to turn my mic off. So that's how it sounds, and how I went about recording the riffs. I did all the rhythm parts once and then did it a second time. It creates a sort of live feel, having the 2 separate recordings together. And then I panned it to the right, and then there's these little bits that are little lead parts. So that's just the intro part, which I did on both guitars. Another little overlay. And then this cream colored part here is the Strat that I used. It's a Fender Strat, Mexican made. It says it's got custom shop pickups in it, but For the price I paid, I'm not too sure. Custom shop designed pickup, so I don't know what that technically means. Definitely not handmade just for this guitar, but I think they maybe took the configuration and mass produced it. Took it from a custom shop, mass produced it maybe, I don't know. For this guitar I used a slightly different amp setup, I think. Just the one amp. With it being single coil pickups, I've cranked it on the sound card there, cranked it up a bit more in the gain to try and match with the Gibson and its humbuckers. It sounds like this. Oh, and I've put the delay on it to give that retro sound. Yeah, so that's how that sounds, and again, did the same thing, recorded the riffs twice, and then, down here, recorded the same twice, intro riff, a little bit of ad-libs, little harmony lead riff at the end, pretty much the same for both guitars. Panned to this one to the left, to create a kind of bit more space, and so this is just the SG. And I'll bring in the Strat. So that's the two guitars. This is where the lead pick comes in as well. So this is the chorus. Part. I'll come to that bit later, and then this is the... I could have actually mixed this bit louder. Oh, and for this version here, I've turned everything down just for this video, so it might not sound as balanced as what you heard, the final one. But yeah, I would have probably liked to put these up a bit. I think actually I had some issues balancing that part and then this bit being too loud. Yeah, so that's how I got my guitar sound all together. These parts here are all of the guitars lumped together, basically. You can see bus 1, that means all the recorded guitars for the rhythm parts are here, and then I just put a bit of compressor over the lot of them, I believe. Yeah, so a little bit of compression and dynamics to kind of glue them together. I did say this is going to get nerdy. And yeah, so let's go into the bass guitar and more of the song structure. So this is the bass that I used. Now this, I've actually had since I was maybe 14. This is the bass that I used to learn my Iron Maiden stuff, get my blisters in the fingers. And the reason I used it is because back in the day, I had was able to get the sort of Iron Maiden bass sound. Again, bias effects, bass amp. So yeah, just a standard bass amp, bit of compression at the front. I've got this supercharger thing from Native Instruments, which I think is does stuff with the gain, bit of compression, I think. Like I said, growing up playing bass and Iron Maiden, wanted to get if you hear Iron Maiden's bass player, there's a clicky sound, quite percussive when he's playing as well. That's the mic picking up that clickiness. Oh, I did put in the super slinky bass strings. I think you can see a bit. If you can see the bit of pink there. Oh, that's the packet. It's fun because I never bought them before, but I bought the guitar version, the little square packet, and it is literally just a big pink packet, just like the guitar one. It's cool anyway. So maybe I think the new strings definitely helped give that clicky sound. Okay, so song structure. Like I said, I mainly used the bass when I was working on the riffs. One of the songs that came to mind for the intro was Iron Maiden's The Evil That Men Do. I wanted to do the whole hold the notes down, dig it in. Another technique you'll hear the Iron Maiden bassist use is like little bar chords like that. I did those chords there. The little fill there is like. So in terms of like little flair and fills, it was either playing with that or going down. And yeah, between that and the galloping, I definitely started getting the fingers. The first riff I did was the chorus. And again, that's using the ride cymbal thing that I'd heard Iron Maiden do. It helps, it's quite good for hearing the vocals of the chorus as well. So yeah, you can keep it, rather than smashing it, the cymbals all the way through. I saved that for the second part. And so I'd had the chorus done first. Then I think I went back to the start. Came up with that bit, Evil That Men Do kind of style. The actual verse itself, it's pretty straightforward. With that part, I was thinking actually of Him, Right Here in My Arms. I don't know why, it's not from the 80s, but they definitely have that sort of old classic rock vibe. And keeping it simple, again, helps bring out the vocals. Focus on the vocals rather than what I was doing. Then I had the issue when it came to the second half of the verse. So what I'd originally done was put in more double kicks to go with the galloping bass, and then that really became too much, so I kind of I picked up the drums without doing too much of the kicks, so it goes up but doesn't overpower the vocals, because I thought you'd have to have the galloping with the kick drum just to have the effect, but it works fine without it. Like classic Iron Maiden kind of stuff there. Right cymbal to kind of bring it down a bit. Bass line. And so I'd kind of piece together that kind of stuff. The second time that comes around, it's a bit more straightforward. It's not galloping, it's just full notes. Simple drums. And then I think after that, I left the ending till the end. I went to look at Dammy's part. And so rather than being a full Iron Maiden mashup, I wanted to incorporate some, well, Black Sabbath. I think I've gone more for like, like Ozzy Osbourne solo stuff with the what's it called? Crazy Train. A little bit of that into this part. And yeah, I wasn't sure what to do with the guitars, so I think that they're a lot quieter than what they might be here. But yeah, I just put in this weird with the two guitar parts actually, so you can hear. It's more like an ad-lib. And yeah, a little bit of an Ozzy Osbourne shout out. Same kind of little bit of a breakdown. Vocal wise, just worth mentioning, I actually sped up the song a little bit from the original. It was just a bit too slow for this kind of vibe. And then the vocals are ripped from, I think it was K-pop Filters did it. And so what they're doing is just trying to filter out sound. It does mean some parts like here, so because it's been filtered, it actually cuts out some of that. So I've tried to boost it there, give it a little boost of the volume. You can only do so much with the filtered vocals. In fact, I think I actually put a little bit of dirt, which is like a distortion pedal, just a little bit more to kind of go with the rock vibe, and some of the Reason Studios delay and reverb there as well, so not so much I could do about that. And then yeah, for structure in the end, so for this last part, for this part I just wanted to keep the momentum going as much as I could. So there's a little slide, there's like big chords but still with the drums. Again, having seen Iron Maiden live, I know they like the little showboating, so I could do a bit of the big chords like that, and then added the little kind of like a little lead riff, I guess. Did that on both guitars. So you can see there's like a little bit of a harmony there. Like just doing beating. And then this is just me taking those notes and fading them out manually. And that's it. I think the most challenging part was overall mixing. I'm obviously never been that great at that. I think even, at least to me, it sounds a bit bassy when you hear it, but I'm still getting used to having so many tracks in one session. I think it was like a year ago I just had the basic version of the studio, so I was limited to like 12 or 20 tracks, or I think it was 12. I think song structure wise, figuring out something for Danny's part was a bit tricky, and usually how it works is you just keep it simple, and again, for the point of a remix, you still want the vocals to shine and the song structure to still be there, so it kind of works out for these kind of things. Just to keep it simple, tends to work the best. Like I said, I was gonna maybe add a little solo at the end, and maybe even like another chorus, because when I first heard the original, I thought it kind of ended a bit sharply, or ended a bit quickly, but again, decided just to keep it simple. And yeah, I guess like once I'd had everything figured out, it's just a case of mixing. I usually start with the drums and the bass, get them sounding good together, then balancing out the guitars with this overall bus. Make sure you can hear every part as best you can, a bit of panning, separate track for the lead, and then yeah, that's pretty much how I go about it. A little bit of reverb on the guitars, and yeah, I think that's about it really. I think doing these remixes are ace fun. I think I touched on it on the last video I did, having just done my own metal EP. I think I'm cool with like chilling on the 7-string metal for a bit, and probably the remixes in general. I want to start experimenting with all this other weird stuff that I've got that I have no idea how to work, just putting a random. So yeah, plenty of sounds to work with. But anyway, so yeah, I'm sure at some point I'll get the itch to remix something else. I've seen a couple suggestions for like One Us and Pixie. Very hard, very similar style, a lot of switching up, and yeah, the metal stuff I'm just wanting to take a quick break from. So again, thanks for listening to Starlight. It's cool getting all the feedback. Definitely the rock vibes suit that 80s style. And yeah, until next time, catch you later.